This is the third example that I want to talk about, that is about competitive intelligence for a large pharma. The reason I put this here is because this looks at a typical use case where you try to extract completely unstructured data from the internet to a structured, usable solution. For example, here I'm web scraping articles from Google News. So there are random news articles. This specifically, I'm interested about FDA in this use case, FDA inspections. So I'm reading about FDA inspections from different articles in the web, trying to extract relevant information from them and trying to make that into a usable, not one time, but a regularly, constantly changing usable opportunity, right? So in this specific use case, the client wants to identify FDA inspections in pharma clients and identify if those FDA inspections might lead to any issues with FDA. Did that inspections find any issues in the plants, etc. And based on that, determine if a warning letter reader will be issued by the FDA. A warning letter reader, what does it mean is, sorry, if a warning letter will be issued by the FDA, a warning letter effectively is a letter which says that you cannot sell to the United States, right? There are issues in your plant because of which you cannot sell to the United States. They want to identify different from different sources what all reasons are there, how can we use them, etc. Right? I'm going to skim through this because of lack of time, largely. So yeah, the input is a news article, something like this. USDA issues Form 483 to do different observations from Lupin's Nagpur plant. And from here, you identify specific information like what is the company, site, product details, relevant dates, etc. Determine if a warning letter will be issued based on the article. Map it with existing information to identify market, product, customers that would be impacted, right? Again, this is an implementation pipeline. Again, it is very similar to the previous one. You have 4 sections. What are the data sources, data processing, data storage, and consumption? So data sources, here we are looking at Google News API and Google News articles. Data processing, largely we've done it on Vertex AI using Google Farm 2 API. And here we are using articles. We have a web scraping methodology that extracts information from the news articles. Generative AI that takes this news articles, converts it into a tabular workable format, and then a scheduler that simply runs this at a specific time every day. And then all this again goes back to a data storage where it gets stored and then users consume it, right? These are some websites where you have news articles about FDA sources. This is an example of a news article. You can see what is the published date, whether Form 83 was provided or not, what is the company name, what is the inspection site, location, site type, etc. So just giving a sample of what this will do. And after extracting this, we read this text, and from this text, we predict if a warning letter will be given or if there's an adverse action that will be taken from this for this plan based on the article, right? Uh, yeah, so the other 2 use cases are, again, they are auxiliary to healthcare, but they're still interesting. So for example, this is an image generation using AI for a healthcare major. Almost all the pharmaceutical companies in Hyderabad and probably even Yashoda, they advertise not just in India, but they also advertise across the world. So what this use case, what we've implemented in this use case is we've created one ad for one geography and then replicated that ad to multiple geographies. For example, here is a portrait of a father and a mother. This is just as an example. If we are putting this ad in an African in the African continent, we would use the first image. If it's in the Indian continent, we would use the second image, and so on. So we create one ad, and then we create copies of that ad in, again, multiple languages, but with different images, with different players in the ad. So this is one use case that we've implemented. This is SOP standardization. Again, this is for a pharmaceutical manufacturer where different plants have different SOPs, different inconsistent structures. So what we try to use GenAI is to combine all of them and to make them into one standardized format. And this is again virtual assistant for malaria control, where effectively what we've tried to do is there are multiple documents. This is, I think, for a non-profit organization involved with United Nations. So they had multiple documents sent by different countries where you had to sift through multiple reports and evaluate what are the centers of malaria control. Based on that, they can give the funding um, to different places for malaria control. So, yeah, so we've used GenAI to read hundreds and thousands of documents to synthesize the data and provide accurate information, which is also real time because governments keep giving this information at a periodic basis. So at a periodic basis, this keeps getting updated. So last thing is sentiment analysis. Again, this is, I think, very simple use case where you essentially find out what is the sentiment. Uh, how do you find out sentiment of your own company, right? So, for example, Yashoda, if they want to know their sentiments, they have a lot of reviews on Google. They have reviews across other areas. So, how do you synthesize them? How do you identify problems? How do you identify what are your strong points, etc.? So, this is a sentiment analysis use case. Uh, that's it from my side. Anybody has any questions?